This is the National Video Journalist Network.
Welcome to My Long Island TV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we've traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. My Long Island TV starts now.
We are at the Long Island Children's Museum. Today we have a program called Dolls of Color, and we are doing this in celebration of Black History Month. We have a workshop with the wonderful April Marius, a doll collector.
This is a doll that's made from a sock. This was made back 1900.
I really just felt that dolls, being sometimes viewed as toys, would be a really great entry point for children to learn about, sometimes heavy topics like racism and slavery, but also learn about the history of why Black dolls were made. I think collections are really interesting to children, and I think to see an adult collector with such a really wonderful range is a fun teaching element as well.
This is a little doll that was made in 1897. And she is made from a glove. I call this History Through Dolls of Color. It's through the collections of dolls that I have that are antique, that range from the 1800s, early 1800s through 1920. It really began with a visit to Cape Cod, and we went to a woman who had a store in the back of her home called the Dollhouse. And then she told me I had to buy this other doll, which was called Topsy Turvy. And the story of Topsy Turvy was about a slave mother who worked at the house, and she had a daughter who was in the kitchen with her. And she made her a little black doll. And one day the master came in and saw the doll and said, "You cannot play with that doll in the house." He wanted all the dolls to be white. So the mother, being creative, created a doll that had a white doll on one side that was safe to play with. And when Master left, she took the skirt and covered it back, and she had a doll that looked just like her. I searched dolls that were not the most beautiful dolls. I collect dolls that most people would look at and say, "Oh, they're awful," but they're historical. And I look at dolls from different periods and look at how they were made, and those are the dolls that I collect.
I can see that. I
Can everyone see?
can see.
You see how tiny? A lot of the dolls that were made during the 1800s were made very tiny, especially during slavery, because they really weren't allowed to have these things. These were people that were moving, they didn't have their normal bedroom, and they made these very tiny little dolls that the kids could put into their pocket.
This doll exhibit was great. Lily is 4 years old, and she's very inquisitive. She asks a lot of questions. She has to know and learn history, which includes Black history, includes all of history. The dolls were an inroad into Black history and to when they were made and how they were made. And being I was in the lumber business for 52 years, the wooden dolls are a little interesting to me.
Very interesting to learn how they made dolls, the different type of dolls, how they made the hair. The Topsy Turvy was, I guess we're gonna say my favorite. To hide the dolls, to switch it back and forth. That was pretty cool. This doll is Navajo, Indian, and this is from 1900. What humbles me most is that I hated history in school. I was a horrible student when it came to history, and I love it now, and I'm actually sharing history. So it's a learning lesson for me as well as teaching the children.